What is up, movie nerds? I'm here with Danny A., the lead director and producer of First We Take Brooklyn.
Got a message for you.
You know, it's the Italians, the Russians, everybody.
Ahmed's not coming around anymore.
Oh, you weren't joking, huh?
Someone's running around with $1 million worth of our goods. Find out where it is.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So you kind of shifted from being this like king of nightlife in New York to being like a Hollywood hitter. So how has that process been like throughout? Was your first film in 2010? Is that Holy Rollers?
It came out in 2010.
Okay.
Holy Rollers, yeah. I wouldn't say king. I would say probably the coolest guy in nightlife. But I mean, it was bound to happen. I started off as as a kid. I wanted to be an actor. And then I said, okay, but I also want to live life. And I figured at some point I will go back to the acting and the whole movie stuff. And I just like to look at it as the club stuff just happened in the meantime.
I feel like you created these kind of different universes. Like you created Hasidic Jews that smuggle ecstasy. You're like a dude in Israel who's in jail. Like what inspires you to create these characters?
Well, it all comes from stories that I've heard and stories that I'm familiar with. Because as a kid, I was born in Israel and raised in Brooklyn, New York. So Holy Rollers is a story that I heard just through the grapevine, just people talking about it, and then I ended up reading an article about it because the guy that I actually portrayed in the movie is Israeli, so I kind of knew of him and knew his story, and that's where the interest came from that. And First We Take Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn. I was born in Israel. It's about an Israeli guy that goes to jail and goes to Brooklyn. So it all has something, it all has something to do with my personal life, and that's where I get most of my inspirations as of now.
So do you think that's how you relate to your character? Like, is this character based on you? Like, is it about any of your time in Israel? Were you in jail in Israel?
No.
That's what I was trying to
No, not yet. No, well, here's the thing. You asked me to play Bruce Lee. I don't know how I'm gonna do. You know what I mean?
I can see you doing that.
But yeah, maybe I'll kick somebody in the head.
Yeah.
The reality is, you want to be able to say yes to characters that you think you can actually do a great job. And most of the time, if I'm producing the movie, then I would try to figure out a role for myself because I'm also an actor.
What do you think was like your favorite part making this film? Like directing, acting, pre-production, post?
Whew, that's a good question. So I took on a big task. I co-wrote the movie, and then once I decided I was going to make it, I tried to find a director that was going to actually understand the character and understand the world. And when I interviewed a few people and I realized that they don't understand what I'm trying to do, I was like, oh my God, I might have to direct this movie because I get it. I see it in my own head, I didn't realize the amount of work it's going to take. I mean, I know that I can take on a lot because I've done that my whole life. But it was very challenging to be able to, watch the screen, not, jeopardize the acting because I'm only giving myself a few takes. And then have to direct Harvey Keitel and Stevie Gutman and Annalyn McCord and all these great actors. It took a lot. I had to be very focused. I stopped drinking for a month before.
What advice would you give other filmmakers, actors, and producers trying to do what you're trying to do?
Well, the traditional way is go take acting classes and audition and try to get some roles and get your reel going and get your career started. I started a little late in life because I was doing the whole club stuff.
I think that's so cool that you came from the club business. I mean, it's probably given you like such a leg up, and since you make like these kind of like gritty gangster crime stuff, I'm sure you jotted down a couple of notes from like some night at the club.
Well, a lot of people, I happened to be like the face of the nightlife stuff. Everyone knew me by name and face. But a lot of people worked as bartenders, and Vin Diesel was a bouncer at a club that I used to work at. A lot of guys came up, me just because I was really successful at it, so I stood out, but it was just a transition.
And you mentioned Scorsese.
Yeah, my favorite.
I know that you worked with him in the past.
I have.
And are you working with him in the near future?
No, so I did a small little role in Wolf of Wall Street. Literally, I have like 3 lines in it. The camera pans, I'm like pitching stock, And you know, just being on set was incredible. Then I got on the pilot of Vinyl for HBO. I auditioned and I got a small little role, again, 2-3 lines with Bobby Cannavale, and that was an amazing experience, just being on set with him. And I just shot The Irishman, where I have a really substantial role. And you know, I auditioned 5-6 times, finally got the role, and that to me is just the biggest pleasure in the world. I mean, doing that with Scorsese and De Niro, Pacino, Keitel, Pesci, it's gonna probably be a classic. That for me, that was like the epitome of like the top of the top. All of this work has come to a point where he sees that I'm right for that world. Now, if he was doing a movie like Silent, where it's about monks and, you know, a Jewish kid from Brooklyn, is not going to be in that, you understand?
Yeah,
so
Jewish kid from Brooklyn is never going to be in a movie called Silent. That's
probably
for sure.
not, but I like to talk. You know what I mean?
Everybody make sure to go see First We Take Brooklyn, and remember,
תמשיכו לראות סרטים!
yeah, what he said.